to take a walk, to take a walk.
I think I got one this time, Coyote. I don't got one.
Down beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio.
Well, Coyote, doesn't look like the banks of the old Ohio are going to earn us a fresh fish dinner or that elusive fishing merit badge I just can't seem to get. Well, sorry, old girl. I guess it's a can of Dinky Dee dog food for you and a protein bar for me. Well, it's off to bed. We have a big day ahead of us tomorrow. Yep, we're just a hop, splash, and a jump from beautiful Point Pleasant and home to the one and only Mothman. Aw, don't be afraid, Coyote. The Mothman is cool, and from what I hear, he appears out of nowhere to warn people of impending disasters. So, come to think of it, maybe it's better we don't see him after all.
Oh, DoorDash delivery.
Golly, what was that? Peek outside and see if you can see anything. What was it? Was it the Mothman? Hey, where'd that come from? I should never have told her about DoorDash.
Beside where the waters flow, down by the banks of the Ohio, I started home.
Hey there, travelers. Chipmunk here, your favorite Pioneer Scout possum rank, reporting for duty. Today, we're diving into the rich history of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And gosh, this place is just brimming with fascinating stories. From its early days as a Native American settlement to the pivotal Battle of Point Pleasant in 1774, right through the bustling days as a major industrial hub in the 19th and 20th centuries, this town has seen it all. We're going to explore how this strategic spot at the confluence of two mighty rivers helped shape the region's development. Visit historic sites such as 2 Endy Way State Park and the Point Pleasant River Museum, and we'll discover the legacy of the brave souls who built this community. And stick around, because we'll also uncover the spine-tingling legend of the Mothman. Jeepers, this is going to be a swell ride. Point Pleasant, sitting at the meeting point of the Kanawha and Ohio rivers, has been an important spot for centuries. Long before European settlers arrived, Native American tribes, particularly the Shawnee, called this area home. The fertile lands and abundant water sources made it an ideal location for settlement, and the Shawnee thrived here. The town officially got its start in 1774 with the famous Battle of Point Pleasant. Colonel Andrew Lewis and his Virginia militiamen clashed with Chief Cornstalk and his Shawnee warriors in what many consider to be the first battle of the American Revolutionary War. It was a significant event that changed the course of history for both the Shawnee and the Europeans expanding into the area. This battle was pivotal because it marked the end of the Shawnees' dominance in the Ohio River Valley, leading to the expansion of European settlements in the region. After the battle, a fort was established at the site to protect settlers from further conflicts with the Native American tribes. This fort, Fort Blair, served as a safe haven and a base for further exploration and settlement in the area. The town began to grow around the fort, with settlers building homes, farms, and businesses. Following the American Revolutionary War, Point Pleasant continued to develop. The strategic location at the confluence of 2 major rivers made it a prime spot for trade and transportation. By the early 1800s, the town had become a bustling port where goods were shipped to and from the Ohio Valley. The arrival of steamboats in the 1810s boosted this trade, and Point Pleasant became a key point for the shipment of lumber, coal, and agricultural products. The rivers also played a crucial role in the town's industrial growth. Mills and factories were established along the riverbanks, taking advantage of the water for power and transportation. The lumber industry in particular flourished, with timber from the surrounding forests being processed and shipped to markets across the country. During the Civil War, Point Pleasant was a significant location due to its strategic importance. The town saw its fair share of troop movements and skirmishes, though it was never a major battlefield. However, the presence of the rivers made it a key point for the movement of troops and supplies. After the war, Point Pleasant experienced a period of rebuilding and growth. Railroads came to the region in the late 19th century, further enhancing its role as a transportation hub. The construction of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway in the 1880s brought new opportunities for trade and commerce, connecting Point Pleasant to larger markets in the East and in the West. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, Point Pleasant was thriving industrially. The town's industries included lumber mills, brick factories, and later, chemical plants. The Ohio and Kanawha rivers continued to be crucial for transporting goods. The Marietta Manufacturing Company, established in the early 20th century, became one of the largest employers in the area, producing boats and barges. The growth of these industries brought new residents to Point Pleasant, and the town's population began to swell. New neighborhoods were developed, and public services such as schools, libraries, and hospitals were established to meet the needs of the growing community. The town's infrastructure also improved, with the construction of new roads, bridges, and public buildings. In the early 20th century, Point Pleasant continued to grow and modernize. The population increased and the community became more vibrant. The Great Depression hit Point Pleasant hard, like many other towns in America. However, New Deal programs helped revitalize the area with projects like road construction and the building of public facilities. The construction of the U.S. Route 35 bridge over the Kanawha River in the 1930s was a significant project that improved transportation and boosted the local economy. During World War II, Point Pleasant contributed to the war effort with its industries producing materials essential for the military. The Marietta Manufacturing Company, for example, built landing craft and other vessels for the Navy. The town's residents also supported the war effort through rationing, victory gardens, and other home front activities. Nowadays, Point Pleasant proudly preserves its rich history. You can visit the Point Pleasant River Museum, which offers exhibits and the town's maritime history, including models of steamboats and riverboats and artifacts from the industrial era. The museum also has interactive displays that let visitors experience life on the river. In the heart of Point Pleasant, you'll find the 2 Endy Way State Park, named after the Shawnee term for the point between the two waters. This park features the Battle of Point Pleasant Monument, honoring those who fought in the 1774 battle. The Mansion House, built in 1796, is also here, showcasing pioneer history and artifacts. The park is a great place for a picnic and a walk along the river, or just to soak up the history. Golly, it's like stepping back in time. Point Pleasant also celebrates its heritage with events like the annual Battle Days Festival, which commemorates the Battle of Point Pleasant with reenactments, parades, and other festivities. The festival is a great way to experience the town's history and culture with activities for all ages. Point Pleasant, West Virginia may be a small town, but it's packed with history and charm. From ancient battlegrounds to industrial success to modern-day festivals, this place is full of stories just waiting to be discovered. So grab your backpacks and let's explore Point Pleasant. Who knows what we'll find, but one thing's for certain, it'll be enlightening. The morning I arrived in Point Pleasant, it looked like it was going to be quite the rainy mess. But by noon, the skies cleared and it ended up being another spectacular West Virginia day. Though you wouldn't know it as I crossed the Bartow Jones Bridge, the very same bridge where you encounter some less than friendly Mothman cultist lookouts before heading into the town in the game. In the real world, the Bartow Jones Bridge connects Henderson, West Virginia to Point Pleasant, crossing over the Kanawha River right where it empties into the Ohio, and just as in the game, you come right into the heart of town. And what's in the heart of town? You guessed it, Main Street. And like so many classic American towns, Point Pleasant's Main Street is lined with charming turn-of-the-century buildings that so define the Americana style of the eastern United States. Looking down Main Street, can you just imagine the five and dimes and the diners of the 1950s? It totally lends itself to the spirit of Fallout, and just look how accurately the game designers replicated it to fit right into the Fallout universe. Now obviously the scaffolding, mutant tree limbs, and other Mothman cultist additions aren't here in the real world, and that's certainly a good thing. But as you can see, all of the buildings are faithfully recreated to give another real-world location its place in video game history. So what do you say, Coyote? Ready to explore Point Pleasant? Well, I sure am. Do I see a comic book shop and a bakery down there? This town just got the Chipmunk 5-star rating, and gosh, we haven't even seen the Mothman yet. Hey look, Nuka-Cola stuff. We're definitely in the right place. As you walk down Main Street, you'll feel like you're right there in the game. The storefronts are exactly as they appear in the Fallout version of Point Pleasant and have many of the same details that we see as we hunt down rad stags and race to light rooftop pyres to summon the wise Mothman. In the real world, you can explore antique stores, gift shops, bookstores, and enjoy some great coffee and bakery at any of the wonderful independent shops you'll find all over the downtown area. Ready for a Halloween donut and maybe a pumpkin spice latte? Let's find some. Another aspect of the real-world Point Pleasant that's very similar to its in-game counterpart is the alleyways and spaces between the buildings that connect the various streets and that you can walk through to go from one side of the town to the other. This particular one has an awesome old male pouch tobacco advertisement painted on the side of the building, similar to the ones you see on old barns all over the country. Hey, look at that, Coyote. That looks like... Yep, the very church we all know so well from our adventures into Point Pleasant in '76. Now in the game, it's a little more gothic looking, but as you can see, the structure is fairly similar to the real-world version, which is the Trinity United Methodist Church. It's located in the same spot as it is in the game, right on Beyond Street. As you walk about the downtown area, you'll come across a number of the familiar West Virginia historical marker signs. This one appears exactly as it does in the game and provides historical information on one of the most significant events in Point Pleasant's history, the tragic Silver Bridge collapse of 1967. But we'll learn more about that in the second part of our Point Pleasant adventure. But while we're on the subject of bridges, here's another familiar sight all you wastelanders will recognize. The bridge on the north end of the town that our favorite cultists have really done a number on. In the game, the bridge appears to be a commuter bridge and very likely an homage to the Silver Bridge, as part of it has collapsed, most likely due to the Great War of 2077. In the real world, it's a train bridge known as the Kanawha Railroad Bridge. It spans the Ohio River between Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and Kanawha, Ohio. As you walk around the downtown area of Point Pleasant, you'll come across lots of little outdoor cafes where you can enjoy a coffee or a tea or some bakery and just take in the sights and sounds of Point Pleasant. Hey look, another one of those back alley cut-through spots, just like in the game. What do you say we head through this one and head down to the waterfront? Cutting back across Main Street and heading west to the river, I spotted another familiar sight, the back of the historic Low Hotel, which as you can see is faithfully represented in the game and just packed with cultist squatters eager to make your stay a less than pleasurable one. But in the real world, the Low is a beloved destination for many travelers and offers some of the best amenities around. If you want to really enjoy the history and charm of Point Pleasant, the Lowe Hotel is the place to do it. Just across the street behind the Lowe Hotel, you'll come to one of Point Pleasant's most visited attractions, the Riverfront Park. A beautiful walk along the spectacular Ohio River that features sculptures, murals, trails, interpretive exhibits, and of course, the amphitheater, which is highly recognizable to all us wastelanders. Note the stage right out there in front of the crescent-shaped seats. Well, as you can see, it exists in the real world and is in exactly the same location. The Point Pleasant River Park Amphitheater is an 800-seat outdoor theater that provides a venue for all sorts of entertainment ranging from concerts to festivals. Come on, let's go down there and get a closer look. And here we are, right in the very amphitheater that's one of the main attractions of the Point Pleasant Riverwalk in the real world, and certainly one of the more popular spots with our favorite Mothman cultists in our very own wasteland. But as you look around, it's simply amazing how accurate the in-game version is to its real-world counterpart. Now, the stage isn't a creepy tree altar, and the area isn't littered with junk, but that's certainly for the better. But just look at how the game designers captured the look and the feel of the amphitheater, recreating the awesome curved cement amphitheater-style seating. It's a perfect match. Looking up, you can see the town right behind it, and looking forward, the river right in front of you. It's definitely one of the most recognizable Point Pleasant game locations, and it's wonderfully represented down to the last detail. So come on, let's explore the Riverwalk a little more and see what else we can discover. Hey Coyote, you want to be rock stars? One of the most beautiful and simply amazing attractions of the Riverfront Park are the floodwall murals painted by world-renowned artist Robert Dafford, whose spectacular outdoor art can be seen all over the world. The floodwall murals capture the history of Point Pleasant in vivid panels which chronicle the human history of Point Pleasant, going back to the early indigenous peoples and ending with the story of Mad Ann Bailey. The murals begin just below the 5th Street entrance to the north of the park and follow the river to the back entrance of the 2 Endy Way State Park. Mr. Dafford's murals capture the soul of the town's history by allowing us to see the vibrant humanity of all the figures he painted. Now, the floodwall murals are one of the few things that don't exist in Fallout 76, but that makes sense to me as they really don't have a place in the game considering the context of the game. The murals are a unique and impactful way to experience the history of Point Pleasant, as they provide not just a timeline for the events that shaped the town and placed it in the annals of American history, but they allow you a glimpse into the souls of the people who put it there. So enjoy the Riverwalk, folks. It's a great way to see Point Pleasant. Hi folks, as I was exploring the riverbank and looking at the mural, I had the pleasure to run into this gentleman. Hi, my name's Chippin, and I do a travel show for Fallout 76.
Pleased to meet you.
And pleased to meet you. So, who are you, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm retired now, but I was the community developer for downtown with Main Street for 20 years. And we're now busy just about every day, and we have some big events during the year, and it's just a lovely place to live now. It's fun every day.
It is, and as I've traveled around to all these different locations, we were in Helvetia, I was in the Cranberry Glades, I was at the Pumpkin House, and now I'm here. I can't stress enough, I meet so many kind people and so many friendly people. It is the most hospitable state, West Virginia. And I can't stress enough to come visit Point Pleasant and come visit but this gentleman is the one responsible for almost everything you saw in this episode. The mural, he got the funding for that. The Mothman, when I met him, he introduced himself as the father of the Mothman. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I go way back to the 1960s. I was a kid out there looking for the Mothman in the TNT area. So I've been around a while. And then eventually we wanted to bring our little town alive. And so I went to a buddy of mine after talking with John Keel. I went to see this buddy of mine, Bob Roach, and asked him to make Point Pleasant a Mothman statue. And Bob says, "What's a Mothman?" I said, "What's it look like?" You know, all the questions. And I said, "Bob, we have to research it to the best we can." And I'm telling you, you'll never meet another guy like Bob Roach. He also made all the statues up and down the river here. He's so talented. He could take a sheet, just a plain sheet of stainless steel, and make anything.
Yeah, they're brilliant. And I saw them as I did the wall, and of course I've seen the Mothman one. Fantastic. But folks, to meet the gentleman who's responsible for bringing that statue. The statue is it's perfectly replicated in the game. So the genesis of it is right here. So how amazing is that?
Well, I appreciate all of that. The Main Street organization here in town, that's who I work for.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in with the politicians and told them how they could invest in our little town. They first said donations. I said, "No, we don't do donations. We do investments." And I said, "You invest in us and we'll pay you back many times, the city." And we have done that many times on the taxes of all these businesses. When I started, there was 54 buildings on Main Street, 44 empty. Now they're all full. So.
Well, and I can tell you for a fact, it is a thriving community. We went into the comic book shop. We've seen the other shops. It's alive with spirit, and we have people like Mr. to thank. And it's just an amazing place. So please, Fallout fans, Mothman fans, any fans, come to Point Pleasant, spend the day, enjoy this beautiful little Americana town, and learn all about the Mothman and everything else, but just experience West Virginia at its finest right here in Point Pleasant. So, sir, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm so glad you ran into me.
Yeah, I ran into you.
You have a great day.
Thanks a lot.
Well, folks, there you have it. Point Pleasant, West Virginia. A quaint and historical classic American town nestled between the Ohio and Kanawha rivers. With a rich history going back centuries, Point Pleasant has lots to offer and much to explore. But stay tuned, because in part 2 of our Point Pleasant adventure, we'll dive into the town's most famous resident cryptid, the legendary Mothman. Ready to meet the Mothman, Coyote? Hey, what do you mean there's no such thing?
Oh, DoorDash delivery.
Oh, do you smell Long John Silver's?